They didn't raise the stakes in the Landman Season 3 trailer. They burned the rulebook and dared everyone to survive the fallout. Season 3 doesn't ease us back into this world. It throws us straight into the aftermath of Season 2, like the story never took a breath. The trailer makes one thing painfully clear within seconds. Whatever safety net once existed for Tommy is gone. No MTEX, no corporate buffer, no one else to blame when things go wrong. For the first time, Tommy isn't navigating someone else's mess. He is the mess if anything collapses. And the scary part? He knows it. The calm confidence we saw at the end of Season 2 feels thinner now, almost brittle. He looks sharper, more alert, but also worn down in a way that suggests sleep isn't coming easy anymore. This isn't freedom, it's exposure. The trailer treats independence like a dangerous experiment, one that looks powerful on paper but feels terrifying in reality. CTT is no longer just a business move. It's a statement, a challenge, almost a personal argument with everyone who ever doubted Tommy. The trailer keeps circling back to this idea that success now carries consequences faster than rewards. Every deal closed feels like a spotlight turning on. Every win feels louder than it should. And in this world, being noticed is rarely a good thing. The money behind CTT hangs over every frame like a quiet threat, never explained outright, but always present. The trailer doesn't need to spell it out because we already know what cartel money means. It means patience, it means control, and it means that failure is never just financial. What makes this season feel bigger than Season 2 isn't scale, it's proximity. In Season 2, danger felt like something Tommy could manage from a distance. Now it feels personal, immediate, and uncomfortably close to home. The trailer subtly reminds us that when you build something of your own, you also give people something to take from you. Tommy's family is no longer insulated by his job title or company structure. Every risk he takes now follows him home. That shift alone changes everything. You can see it in the way he carries himself, like someone constantly calculating how much damage a single mistake could cause. And then there's the pressure. Not the explosive, loud kind, but the slow, crushing kind that doesn't let up. The trailer leans heavily into silence, pauses, and expressions instead of action, and that choice is unsettling. It feels like Season 3 is more interested in watching characters endure stress than escape it. Tommy doesn't look like a man chasing power anymore. He looks like a man trying to stay upright while everything he's built demands more from him than he can safely give. The idea that working for yourself is the ultimate goal gets quietly dismantled here, because what happens when you get what you wanted and it starts costing you more than you can afford? What really sells the insanity of this trailer is how little reassurance it offers. There's no promise that things will stabilize, no hint that Tommy will figure it out if he just pushes harder. In fact, the trailer suggests the opposite, that pushing forward may be the very thing that breaks him. Season 3 doesn't frame this journey as heroic. It frames it as dangerous, exhausting, and possibly irreversible. The success of Season 2 feels less like a victory now and more like the setup for consequences that were always waiting. And just when you start wondering whether Tommy is strong enough to carry all of this alone, the trailer quietly asks a far more disturbing question. What if strength isn't enough anymore? Power is changing hands quietly, and not everyone notices until it's too late. This is where Cooper's presence stops feeling like a side story and starts feeling like a potential disaster waiting to happen. The trailer makes it impossible to ignore how much Cooper has grown. The kid who once struggled just to survive the oilfield politics now moves with confidence, authority, and an unsettling calm. On paper, this should feel inspiring. In reality, it feels dangerous because growth in this world never happens without consequences, and the trailer subtly reminds us that Cooper's rise puts him directly in the line of fire. He's no longer learning in the shadows, he's visible, and visibility attracts problems. The trailer leans heavily into the idea that Cooper is no longer just executing Tommy's vision, he's shaping it. That alone changes the entire balance inside CTT. Responsibility isn't being shared anymore, it's being redistributed. And while Cooper looks capable, the trailer quietly questions whether capability is enough when pressure starts attacking from every direction. There's a lingering sense that Cooper is being built up not just for success, but for a fall that could destabilize everything. His past, which once felt resolved, suddenly feels unfinished. The incident from season 2, the one everyone agreed was self-defense, hangs in the background like an unresolved echo. The trailer doesn't show us accusations or consequences outright. Instead, it does something more unsettling. It suggests that the truth doesn't always matter when power, money, and fear are involved. One rumor, one reopened question, one person deciding to dig a little deeper than they should. That's all it takes. What makes Cooper's situation especially tense is his emotional positioning. He isn't reckless, he isn't arrogant, he's disciplined, focused, and deeply invested in doing things the right way. And that's exactly why the trailer feels ominous. Because people like Cooper don't break loudly, they break slowly. The pressure to protect his relationship with Ariana, to live up to Tommy's expectations, and to justify the faith placed in him starts to feel like a quiet countdown. The trailer frames his relationship as something genuine and grounding, but also fragile, not because of conflict between them, but because the world around them doesn't care about stability. It only cares about leverage, and relationships are leverage. As Cooper's importance inside CTT grows, so does his vulnerability. The trailer subtly reinforces this by showing him closer to decision-making than ever before. He's not shielded anymore. He's exposed. Legal risks, financial threats, and emotional stress all converge around him at the same time. Season 3 doesn't frame this as a test of skill, it frames it as a test of endurance. How long can someone stay sharp when every success makes the stakes higher? How long before responsibility turns into a trap instead of an opportunity? At the same time, the trailer makes it clear that Cooper's rise affects Tommy in ways that are both relieving and terrifying. On one hand, Tommy finally has someone he can rely on. On the other, relying on Cooper means putting him directly in harm's way, and that creates a new kind of guilt. The trailer hints that Tommy knows this, that every step forward CTT takes drags Cooper deeper into a world that doesn't forgive mistakes. This isn't mentorship anymore, it's shared risk, and shared risk has a habit of destroying relationships when things go wrong. What elevates this section of the trailer is how it refuses to label Cooper as safe or doomed. Instead, it positions him right at the center of uncertainty. His talent is undeniable, his intentions are good, but the trailer keeps asking the same quiet question without ever saying it out loud. What happens when being good at your job isn't enough to protect you? In this world, competence doesn't guarantee survival, it only guarantees attention. The trailer leaves us with an uncomfortable realization. Cooper's story isn't about becoming great anymore. It's about whether greatness is survivable at all, and if the past he thought was buried is already on its way to collect everything he's built. The focus quietly shifts toward Galeno and the money behind CTT, and suddenly the entire story feels like it's sitting on a ticking clock. What makes Galeno so terrifying in this trailer isn't aggression or violence, it's certainty. There's no shouting, no dramatic threats, just a man who knows he doesn't need to rush. The trailer makes it painfully clear that Galeno's deal with Tommy was never about partnership. It was about ownership disguised as opportunity. Every well drilled, every contract signed, every dollar earned by CTT still traces back to cartel money. And that reality changes the meaning of success entirely. In this world, winning doesn't create freedom, it creates obligation. The trailer repeatedly reminds us that Galeno's patience is not kindness, it's strategy. He doesn't react emotionally because he doesn't have to. Time works for him. One delay, one accident, one bad call in the field, that's all it takes for leverage to shift completely. And what makes this even more disturbing is how calm he appears while holding that power. Calm suggests experience. Experience suggests that he's watched people just like Tommy believe they could manage the risk right before everything collapsed. The trailer doesn't show Galeno doing anything overtly dangerous. Instead, it lets the silence speak. His presence is felt even when he's not on screen, like a shadow that moves closer every time CTT succeeds. At the same time, the trailer hints that Galeno himself may be under pressure. His losses with MTEX and his investment in CTT place him in a position where failure isn't an option for him either, and that shared desperation creates a volatile balance. When both sides feel trapped, the rules change. Violence doesn't always arrive loudly in those situations. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, without warning, without negotiation. The trailer leans into this unease by showing how fragile operations really are. A delayed permit, a miscalculated site, an unexpected accident. Any of these could flip success into disaster instantly. And when cartel expectations are involved, disaster never stays contained. What truly raises the stakes is how personal the danger has become. The trailer keeps returning to the idea that Tommy's family is now part of the equation in a way they never were before. Working under MTEX created distance between risk and home. Running CTT destroys that distance completely. Every threat now feels closer. Every failure feels like it could follow him through his front door. The trailer doesn't need to show explicit danger to make this point. It just lets us feel how exposed Tommy has become. The cost of independence isn't just financial, it's emotional, it's psychological, and it's relentless. As the tension around CTT grows, the trailer begins to reveal the collapse happening on the other side of the story, MTEX. Without Tommy and his core team, the company doesn't just struggle, it drifts. Decisions feel reactive instead of intentional. Leadership feels disconnected from reality. The trailer strongly suggests that MTEX is no longer suffering from bad luck, but from the absence of the people who once kept it grounded. Cammy's choices, which already felt unstable in Season 2, now appear dangerous without Tommy there to absorb the fallout. The vacuum left behind attracts the wrong kind of influence, and the trailer implies that MTEX is moving steadily toward a point where recovery may no longer be possible. The emotional weight of this collapse is heavy because MTEX was never just a company, it was Monty's legacy. It represented stability, history, and pride. Watching it unravel feels like watching something irreplaceable slip away. And the trailer quietly plants a terrifying possibility. Galeno may not be finished with MTEX at all. His patience could easily turn into a takeover once the company reaches total failure. That idea reframes everything, because suddenly Tommy's past and present are no longer separate. Helping MTEX would mean exposing CTT, walking away would mean abandoning Monty's legacy, and the trailer makes it painfully clear that there is no choice that doesn't end in loss. This is where the story becomes tragic instead of heroic. The trailer doesn't frame Tommy's potential involvement as a triumphant return, it frames it as a moral trap. Loyalty pulls him in one direction, survival pulls him in another, and both demand sacrifices he may not be able to survive. We see flashes of exhaustion in his face, moments where the weight of responsibility looks physically painful. Season 2 pushed him to his limits. Season 3 looks ready to push him past them. The trailer strongly hints that Tommy's health, mental and physical, is becoming a serious concern. Pressure is coming from every direction at once, and Tommy is the kind of man who never asks for help until it's too late. By the end of this section, the trailer leaves us with a chilling realization. Tommy isn't being tested to see if he can succeed. He's being tested to see what he's willing to lose, and the real question becomes whether loyalty, ambition, and survival can coexist without destroying him completely. What happens to people when pressure never lets up? By this point, the trailer has stripped away any illusion that someone is coming to save these characters. There are no safe positions left, no sidelines to retreat to, and no decisions that don't carry damage. Season 3 doesn't feel like a continuation of the story. It feels like a reckoning that has been patiently waiting since Season 1. Every storyline the trailer touches carries the same message. Endurance has limits, and everyone is approaching theirs at the same time. The focus slowly pulls away from deals and power struggles and settles on the personal cost of everything we've seen so far. Tommy's family is no longer shielded by distance, ignorance, or plausible deniability. The trailer quietly suggests that the line between work and home have completely disappeared. Every decision Tommy makes at CTT now follows him into his personal life, and that kind of constant tension reshapes a person. He isn't just carrying responsibility for a company anymore, he's carrying fear, guilt, and the knowledge that his choices could put the people he loves directly in harm's way. The trailer doesn't need dramatic confrontations to make this point. It just lets us feel how exposed Tommy has become. The cost of independence isn't just financial, it's emotional, it's psychological, and it's relentless. Angela's role becomes especially important here, and the trailer treats her presence not as comfort, but as necessity. Her strength isn't loud or aggressive, it's steady, grounded, and resilient in a way that feels almost rare in this world. The trailer implies that she may become the emotional anchor not just for Tommy, but for others who are starting to fracture under pressure. In a season filled with threats, her ability to create moments of normalcy feels like a lifeline. But even that lifeline feels fragile because no amount of optimism can fully erase the danger surrounding them. The question isn't whether help can help, it's whether help can still arrive in time. Ansley's growth is also quietly emphasized, and it's one of the more unsettling developments hinted at in the trailer. She no longer feels like someone reacting to chaos. She feels like someone being forced to mature faster than she should. The trailer suggests that responsibility will be placed on her shoulders in ways that challenge her confidence and reshape her identity. This isn't a coming-of-age story wrapped in inspiration. It's a story about growth forged under pressure, where mistakes carry real consequences. The trailer makes it clear that even youth isn't protection anymore. What truly separates Season 3 from everything that came before is the absence of safety. The trailer doesn't offer hope in the traditional sense. It offers impact. Even moments that look stable feel temporary, as if the show wants us to understand that calm is an illusion. The pacing reinforces this by refusing to slow down or provide reassurance. There's no clear promise that things will get better if characters just endure long enough. Instead, surviving one crisis seems to lead directly into the next. The message is unsettling but consistent. This world doesn't reward patience, it exhausts it. The trailer also challenges the idea of control in a way the show never has before. Characters who once believed they were steering events now seem to be reacting instead of leading. Cooper's technical brilliance can't protect him from emotional fallout. Angela's optimism can't erase danger. Ansley's growth can't shield her from hard truths. Even Galeno, who appears calm and calculating, may be facing forces that limit his power more than he lets on. This shared vulnerability creates a powerful tension, because it means no one is truly safe, no matter how intelligent, experienced, or prepared they believe to be. At its core, Season 3 appears to be about identity under pressure. Being a landman was never just a job for Tommy. It was how he defined himself, how he protected his family, and how he justified every sacrifice he made. Now, that identity is under attack from every direction. The trailer hints that Tommy may be forced to question whether being right is worth the cost, and whether saving others means losing himself in the process. This internal conflict elevates the story beyond oil deals and cartel threats. It becomes a meditation on limits, how much responsibility one person can carry before something breaks. By the final moments of the trailer, one message becomes impossible to ignore. Season 3 isn't about who wins, it's about who survives and what survival will cost them. The success built in Season 2 is about to be tested brutally. Relationships will strain, morals will bend, sacrifices will be demanded that no one is fully prepared to make. Season 3 doesn't promise resolution or relief, it promises consequences. And as the trailer fades out, it leaves us with a final, haunting thought that lingers far longer than any explosion or twist ever could. When the weight finally becomes unbearable, who breaks first and what happens to everyone left